Hey there, I'm Shane. Today I'm going to be talking about the Quartzline filters from PolarPro. In this video, I'm going to be talking about their build quality, image quality, and just overall ease of use after I've used them for well over a year now in a lot of different applications. And ultimately, I'm going to give you my opinion on if I think they're still a good purchase to buy. So this video is going to be all about the Quartzline filters from PolarPro. As I said in the start of the video, I've been using these for well over a year now, and I've been fortunate enough to try them out in a lot of different environments, spanning from minus 40 degree freezing cold temperatures to plus 40 degrees in sandy environments, and really been able to put them through their paces in weddings or just general photography use. And hopefully I'll be able to convey my opinion of them well in this video. I have three of these filters. I have the ND8PL, the ND16 without a polarizer, and the ND1000 with a polarizer built in. And that's a real cool feature of these filters just off the bat, is that they have polarizers built into the ND filters, reducing the need to have to stack filters in front of your camera lens, which can become an issue with wider angle lenses, and also just be kind of a pain in the butt to carry around. So these filters already are pretty handy because of that feature. But in this video, I'm not going to talk about really the benefits of having a polarizer or ND filter for your video or photography, because I've made videos on the topic already, and I'll have them linked on screen now or in the video description to hopefully help clarify kind of the pros and cons of using a polarizer or ND filter for your video or photography work. I'll start off with the build quality, and thankfully there's not much to say about it besides it's absolutely impeccable. PolarPro has been making filters for drones now for years, and they really hit the ground running when entering the full frame market. These filters are just very well made, and it shows their expertise in the field. The first thing that you'll notice when you pick up the filter is a very nice knurling on the outside of the filter, making it very easy to take on and off of your lenses because it's just very easy to grip. The other thing is the very pleasing aesthetic of the filters. They have this kind of goldish brass ring on the outside, which is because the filters are made out of brass, which has a lot of practical applications as well. Brass is a very hard metal, which means that it's much more resistant to scratches and getting nicked, which means the threading on the filter is going to be a lot better long term, not only making it easier to get them on and off of your camera lenses, but also reducing the chance of actually damaging the threading on your lenses by having a damaged filter. The other thing is that brass, I find, is a lot less prone to getting seized up on your lenses. So in hot or cold temperatures, it doesn't expand or contract as readily, meaning that when your hands are numb in the freezing cold, you don't actually have as hard of a time getting these filters off of your lenses as I have had with other cheaper filters. The polarizing version of these filters I find rotate very freely, and over time I haven't noticed any gunk or sand get in the joint between the filter and the lens, and they still rotate freely as when I first bought them. I also haven't noticed any kind of leakage of the grease from that joint, because sometimes with some filters, like ND filters, you can notice some kind of grease get out over time, and I haven't noticed that with these polarizers. The glass of the filters themselves are made out of fused quartz, as the name implies, and they're incredibly resistant to scratching and cracking, and I've had no damage to these filters since I bought them. They also have some very nice coatings on the outside of them, making them further more resistant to smudging, water, oil, and just general grime that gets on these filters over time, meaning that it's very easy to maintain them being in good condition. And on top of that all, they also come with really nice included carrying cases. I prefer using these plastic cases that came with them, and I just write how many stops of light each filter is on the outside of them to make it easier for me to differentiate them. But they also come with some very nice fabric carrying cases that have microfiber cloth on the inside and Velcro, making them very easy to just slide in and out of your backpack if you prefer that. The biggest concern I have with any filter is that when I put it in front of my camera lens, that there's going to be an overall loss of image quality, whether that's through a decrease in sharpness, an undesirable color shift, or an increase in diffraction, making the image look muddy. And thankfully with these filters, I have had none of those issues, and they just resolve very, very nicely. Especially for video work, this makes it super easy because you don't have to have difficulty matching the footage, and most of the footage in this video has been shot with the 8PL ND filter in front of it, which is the 3-stop filter with polarization. Speaking of polarization though, it works exactly as intended. It makes it way easier to get photos of water, making it look crystal clear, or getting photos of the horizon where there's significantly less kind of haze, or when you need to get photos of glass or a reflective surface, there's a lot less of a glare. The one catch though is that there's always going to be a slight color shift or increase in saturation when using polarization. This is often desirable and exactly what you're using a filter for, but the catch is when you don't want it, there's no option to separate the ND from the polarization, meaning that you have to change filters, which is kind of defeats the purpose of having the ND filter built in with a polarizer. So it's kind of a give and take. For myself and my personal use, I often prefer having the polarizer built in with the ND filter. However, it's just kind of a catch-22 with having the convenience. At the end of the day though, a lot of what it comes down to is the price. And even though these do offer fantastic build and image quality, they also boast a rather large price tag, coming in between $100 and $150 US or $200-ish Canadian. And you can save a few bucks by buying them in a 3-pack like I did. However, whatever way you cut it, they're quite expensive. Compared to other options in their price bracket though, they are a decent value, and you do get a lot of accessories with the filters, which makes them an even better value because their build quality is just so fantastic as well. But I do have a bit of a hard time recommending these if they're going to be your first ND filter. This is because unless you know exactly what kind of photography you want to do with your ND filter, the last thing you want to do is buy a $200 ND filter and have it sit on your shelf collecting dust. So what I would kind of recommend is buying a cheaper filter, seeing if you like it, and then say you want something a little bit darker or a little bit lighter, you can invest in a more expensive one that you're going to want to use more long term. With that said though, I do highly recommend them, and if you're in the market for a new ND filter, these are a fantastic option. I've had a blast over the last year using them, and I certainly foresee myself using them for many years to come. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it was useful, and if you have any questions about the filters or anything that I said in the video, please feel free to ask in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe consider subscribing or liking it. It really helps me out make new videos in the future. This video was a fun little opportunity to get outside and try something a little bit different than my other reviews that I made. If you liked it, maybe let me know, and I hope to make more like this in the future. They're a little bit easier to make, and hopefully I can have a few more videos come out a week. Maybe more than once a month. But anyways, that's it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.